back with NotifyMeEdgar.com. I talked more about the website on the last video. Today I will just talk to you about insider trades and how to catch them using our alert system, right? In order for you to catch what we are going to talk about today, you will need a Form 4 insider transaction option grant catalyst subscription. Okay, so our alert, it filters out all SEC documents, SEC filings, and looks for those option grants that are vested immediately, and they get sent through a simple email service to your inbox as soon as they come out in the span of 1 to 2 minutes. Today I will show you a prime example of how you can use this insider trading information to your advantage and to capitalize on it. So furthermore, I have created a little streamlet just for this video and just to show you how the uh, insider trade played out, because it's easier to see here than through email, because there is so many different emails that I would have to go through, as I was still working on a few things after this came out, so it wasn't fully cleaned up yet. But our software filtered out LGVN as a fully vested stock on the grant date, as you can see here. Um, Furthermore, we can go and look at the actual SEC filing of the stock. So if we go look at the filing, which was by Herr Joshua, and there you go. The transaction date was the 1st of July, and it was reported only 2 days later, which is completely within the, I think, 3-day requirement. So looking at the filing, you can see Herr Joshua, which is the director, officer, and 10% owner, as well as the chief scientific officer, granted himself, or the company granted him, stock options at the exercise prices of 1.28 and a total of 49,000 securities, which totals for about $60,000 to $70,000, right? As soon as they were granted, they were also vested. So the option fully vested on the grant date of July 1st, 2025. This is a very unusual site, because what our code does is it filters out the compensation stock options, which are plenty of them, and they're normal, as firms pay part of your salary through stock options instead of giving it cash to you, right? Um, so we look for those that are out of norm, and although some of them still are kind of not a clear indication that there is some insider information, descriptions like these and fully vested stock options at the grant date, they aren't common, and they are almost every single time a catalyst for the stock price to move up, as the insider does know information. And so it is also on this specific case. So as you can see, transaction date was the first of July. Heading over to the chart, 1st of July is right here, and it's at 1.28. So yeah, the stock options were granted here. As you can see, only which was on the 1st of July, the transaction date was 1st, and the date that it was reported was the 3rd of July. So you had plenty of time to catch this move. You had the 3rd of July, you had the Monday, and you would have gotten the email that this catalyst came out on the 3rd of July, just 2 minutes after it came out. I'm not sure about the timing. Let me see if it is noted here. No, no, it isn't, but you would have had the report in the 3rd of July, and you would have been able to capitalize on this move. As you can see, the stock price went as high as 40% since this point, which is a lot, right? So yeah, plus it spiked over here, and the main reason why such a stock, it's like a clear catalyst. You aren't sure about whether the stock price is going to go up before, but after you see it play out, you realize more of what was behind it truly. But when you see something as irregular as this description, it almost always means that that is a buy opportunity, as the insider does know some information that we don't. Moving forward, when did the stock price spike? Spiked 8th of July up until the 21st of July. Let's see why. 8K report filed on the 9th of July, and it was reporting for the 8th. So let's see this 8K report. What does it say here? There you go. FDA has cleared the new drug to initiate a phase 2 clinical trial. So, is it coincidence or not that only seven exactly a week before Herr Joshua granted himself stock options before the stock or the product was given FDA approval to initiate a phase 2 trial? I don't really think it's coincidence. And looking at these very specific descriptions, these are just always buying opportunities. And as you can see, you could have capitalized on it as far as 40%, 30 to 40%. So, which is good, which is a good buy opportunity. And there's plenty of these with this code. So, if you do, in fact, want to be able to gain an edge over the market and have information ahead of time, which is kind of in investments, in order to capitalize, you need to have something that others don't. And this is all public information. And theoretically, in a perfect market, as everyone has access to what I am offering, um, there is no edge. But because you get this information first, as soon as it comes out, you get this information, you still have an edge over the investors who read the news or parse through the SEC filings themselves, because this is the first thing that comes out. So you have that time, the time difference between when you buy and the rest of retail investors buy. That is your edge in investment, and specifically in the fundamental investing we are providing as a firm. So if you are in fact interested, head over to NotifyMeEdgar. You can sign up to our sample alert for phase 3 completion trials. These are not common at all. Maybe one in a week, one in 5 days. I would say the average would be for you to get the email, but it's just a sample product. And furthermore, if you have if your research needs optimization, guys, I just wanted to add a little remark, which is just something that I found. I was out for 6 days, and when I saw this, it was very funny. So remember how I talked to you about the stock all LGVN, and about how just previously in this video I mentioned that Herr Joshua granted the company granted him stocks that vested immediately, right? And as we can see, after these stocks were granted to him, he had a total number of shares owned of 49,219. And something funny that I just looked over it was that we go to the next filing from Herr Joshua on the already like 2 weeks after, and as we can see, he was granted new stock options. These ones vest quarterly, so this is compensation. And the number of securities owned is 109,000. So my question is to Herr Joshua, where did these 49,000 shares disappear? Right? Where did they disappear? They are not accounted for at all. They just disappeared. He granted himself those stock options and now they don't exist anymore. There is no report of him exercising them or yeah, or yeah, there's no report of him exercising the shares and selling them. So yeah, that's and then we can go back to the stock and we can see that it plummeted 50%, right? So 50%, 60%, even more, because they issued registration statement, secondary offering. So yeah, if we go down to, if we go down to, so this was reported on the 17th of July, and I missed this actually, right? Yeah, I missed that transaction. I just found it out now, which is kind of weird. But yeah, as you can see, they had a secondary offering here. And yeah, that's why the stock plummeted. And their 8K report was also probably, or was it 5 million for the offering? Yeah, and the offering was, the registration statement was drafted on the 21st. On the 21st, which is around here, which is actually at the peak of the stock. But I I don't know how I missed those things. That's kind of weird actually. But yeah. And then you have the registration statement on the 4th, and the prospectus is on the 11th. 4th, 11th of August. 4th of August, everything is still fine. And then it plummets and the starts falling in the 6th of August, which, yeah, which is after the second. Well, yeah, man, I just wanted to report how Herr Joshua is not accounting for 50,000 shares that he was granted, that vested immediately, showing some insider information. And you could have all catch this if you had our Notify Me Edgar service for options granted that vest immediately. You would have received the email of LGVN right here by Herr Joshua that the option fully vested on the grant date of July 1st. So yeah, thank you for watching.